In today's video, we're going a little bit of a different route. We're going to be talking about ice picks and self-defense. Stick around. You know, when you've got an outdoor channel like I do, days like today are the kind of days you dream of in the wintertime when you're outside trying to film and make videos. We've got us a beautiful sunny day here in Virginia, about 55 degrees, and perfect timing to get out here and create some content for you. It's no secret that a large portion of my content is centered around weaponry and self-defense. And it's outdoors like this that I do a great majority of my training when the weather allows and if I'm able. Today we're going to be talking about the ice pick. You know, the ice pick is a very useful tool, and it's not originally designed as a weapon. It's, you know, designed for bartenders or just anybody who's doing anything with ice, frozen foods. Just, there's all kinds of ways that you can use an ice pick. You can, you know, punch holes in leather. There's so many things you can do. It's a great tool to have around, but let's not pretend that it's not the ultimate weapon as well. So if you're looking for just a general ice pick review, just to see how well it breaks ice, I'm not going to be doing that kind of review with this. As a disclaimer, I'm not necessarily creating this video and telling everybody to start carrying around ice picks every day. But I do want to talk about the possible effectiveness of something like an ice pick. Yes, the ice pick is not originally designed as a weapon, but there are plenty of knife makers out there that, you know, design portable spikes for people to carry around. Regardless of what you choose to carry, it's always good to go out and get familiar with state laws and all of that. One thing I can say about knives or any other kind of tool is a lot of times it just depends on why you're carrying something, if you're ever asked or inquired upon. You know, if I was ever in a situation and a law enforcement officer would have asked me, you know, what's the purpose of this blade you're carrying? Well, I mean, I'm going to first and foremost, you know, say that this blade is a tool, and that's not a lie, because I do use my everyday carry knives for all sorts of things. Self-defense is just that oh crap moment you hope will never happen. But again, let's not pretend that we're not also carrying it for that. But primarily, if you ask me why I've got it, I'm going to say, you know, officer, this is a tool. And everything that I talk about is in the context of life and death, self-defense. And if you're carrying around knives or ice picks or tactical spikes or anything like that with the purpose of just, you know, being threatening or threatening people or brandishing your weapon every time somebody has something to say to you, you're going to end up going to jail for that. And if you ever have to use lethal means of self-defense, you've got to be able to prove without a shadow of a doubt that your life was in danger. Every decision that we make to carry certain things or wield certain things is going to have implications. I've got to be very careful about how I say this, because I don't want to be held accountable for encouraging anybody to break the law. I just want to talk about reality, and I'm going to phrase this the best way that I can. One of the unfortunate things that we deal with across the world, and even in states here in the U.S., is that some of these areas are so restricted and they practically disarm their citizens. There are so many people who could have survived rapes or even fatal attacks if they'd have had something to protect themselves with, but they didn't have anything because they were trying to obey the law. So my friend, hear me closely. I am not telling you to break laws. I am not telling you what to do. Everything you choose to do is your decision. That's why this video is for educational purposes only. We all have to live with the decisions that we make if things get turned upside down. I recently picked up an ice pick that's very solid on Amazon by RDD Con-Kit, I do believe is how that's pronounced. And this is about a 9-inch piece here. That's just a very solid piece of hardware. It looks good too. It comes with this screw-on cap here. You can unscrew that, and it's got a pretty good weight to it. But it's just a very solid tool that you can use for so many things, obviously, you know, things that ice picks are designed for. The total length of this is 9 inches. The handle length is 4.13. The needle is 4.29. The cover that it comes with is 5.11. If you wanted a different kind of sheath to carry this around in, you could probably get creative with some nylon. You know, there's different types of nylon sheaths out there that this could probably slip right down into. That's just a suggestion. And as I mentioned before, there are so many primary uses for the ice pick. And this one is rock solid. I only paid like $13 for this, but again, so many things that you can do. If you're a bartender, just wherever you're fooling with ice, frozen foods, need to punch holes in anything, need to reach hard to reach spaces, so many things you can use for an ice pick. So let's just say that I'm moving about in my day and I don't have anything else on me except for this ice pick. And I find myself in a life-threatening situation where it looks like I could be under attack. Or let's just say that some wild animal wants to come up and chew my leg off. It happens. I've seen it. I've seen people get randomly attacked by animals all the time. Imagine if you had a 4.29-inch stinger in your hand. It would make it a lot more difficult for anyone or anything. Would I use this ice pick if it was all I had? Why, yes, I would. So let's talk about the potential effectiveness of something like this in a life and death defensive situation. What can it not do other than slice? Because piercing is the name of its game, and it pierces well. This limb here behind me is slightly rotted out, but we're going to take a shot with this ice pick. Deep in there. Going to hit the inside of this grain here. If you ever have to use something like this, make sure you brace it like this at the end. I know some of you want to see this thrown. Throws pretty nice, actually. Let's really put some stank on it. It's hard. That was kind of like a military half spin. This is no spin. Flies like a bullet. Obviously, a heavier ice pick's going to throw better. This one's got some meat to it, so it throws well. And the question is not so much what can it penetrate. The question is what can it not. As far as defense is concerned, there's no issues there. I want to give you a little bit of insight as to how my mind works. You know, all across the animal kingdom, you know, different creatures have different attributes wherewith to defend themselves. Some animals have really, really sharp teeth. Some have really, really sharp claws, and some have stingers. We as people are not so much wired that way. Yes, we can bite, but who wants to get that close? I mean, you will if you need to, but who wants to? And our fingernails are really not that dangerous. Yeah, they hurt a little bit, nothing like an animal. And we really don't have a stinger unless we give ourselves one. If I keep coming after you and you keep catching me with something like this, it's a demotivator. In fact, you hit me in the wrong spot, I'm gonna be like Tom off Tom and Jerry and just fly into the freaking clouds. Again, though, you poke somebody with this without justifiable cause, it's slammer time. I want to change gears at this time and talk about how an ice pick can actually be a good tool in your martial arts training. I've got this drill that I do where I hang an empty soda can from a string, and the object of the exercise is to try to penetrate that can, leaving your ice pick in the can without pushing your can away. It takes a lot of speed, accuracy, and concentration of force to make this work, but it's an excellent training exercise. Here's some of the footage on some of the work I was doing last night. It's a great exercise to test your speed and accuracy, and an ice pick is perfect for that. I want to conclude this video by saying that there are a lot of tools around us that could be used as a defensive weapon if they needed to be. I think it's important to know how everything works. You know, why do we just want to focus on the primary aspects of something if it could be something that could practically be used to defend ourselves? You know, there's a lot of things that we can choose to carry on a day-to-day basis for protection. Guns, knives, pepper spray, tasers. You know, and even something like this is a viable carry depending upon what you do, depending upon what your occupation is. And it's pretty inexpensive, and even better, it's a solid piece of hardware. The ice pick, just like a knife, is something that could be used for utility purposes or defense. But just remember, whatever you use, you got to be able to justify it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.